At Your Instep is brought to you by Comic Town and BCW Supplies. Hello, and welcome to At Your Instep. My name is Morgan, and I'm here with Mike.
Hello.
And Dave. Why?
Just because I'm back, man. I'm back. Gotta announce it.
Did we need that? I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I did appreciate it actually. There's some sick sensibility in myself that was like, that was fine. That was a fine thing for you to do.
I think listeners were secretly hoping that you would come back. You know, like I mentioned when you walked in, that you were now fully stuck in like Bostonian mode, and that we were gonna have to like cure you of it during this episode.
Cure me like it's a disease.
Like have an exorcism, just like out demon,
out demon. Let him go, Massachusetts.
Say khaki, khaki.
What are these car keys? What are these khakis? Again.
I will say.
Oh, it's so good. Okay, you know what? We should probably stop because we're no better than people from Boston ourselves if we're gonna have a witch trial.
That's very true.
Wow. I did spend some time in Salem, and I did have my fair share of Dunkin' Donuts coffee, so I got my fill.
Is that what the witches gave Salem, Massachusetts?
They're like, there's no way you can make this coffee this good.
So America runs on witchcraft then at this point in time.
So is there a reason this donut, like this round donut, has like a star like frosted on the top of it? Nah, no reason.
Don't worry about it.
Just eat it. Be one with it.
Did you guys always have this half man, half goat statue? You can put your donuts on his horns, though. That does help.
It's actually just a donut holder.
I never noticed all the Christian symbology in this Dunkin' Donut. Well, okay, upside down.
Yeah, it's true. Did you guys cheap out on nails when you hung all these crosses? All right, we'll stop. Sorry if we offended anyone. It's just jokes, guys. It's just jokes. All right. So we do have a lot of exciting news as far as that goes. We have some a whole bunch of Amonkhet news, which is pretty exciting, and our competitive segment is going to be a little bit short.
Mike's drinking scissor right now.
Yeah, he's slipping on some scissor, sipping on some sip.
It tastes like grape. It's so gross.
Oh.
Sorry,
it's purple.
It tastes like probably like artificial grape, I imagine, not like actual grapes.
No. If it tastes like actual grapes, it'd be like delicious.
It'd probably be wine.
I may cough a lot during this episode. I'm trying not to, so I'm gonna just keep chugging this off-brand Robitussin.
As comes with the changing of the seasons, so does illness here in the lovely state of Ohio, because our sinuses just aren't prepared for sudden highs and lows of our weather.
I fully blame my wife for this one. So.
Oh,
I actually got sick in Massachusetts. So
oh, you brought it with you.
I brought it back. Yeah.
You came down with the sickness, and then you brought it back here. Yeah.
We made that joke so many times on here.
Who cares? It never gets old.
Well, okay, to be fair, that song's like...
It is very old.
Like 15,
I
20 years old at this point?
I understand.
I'm done. I'm actually
done.
That's
depressing, actually.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yep.
There's no way Down with the Sickness is 20 years old, right?
No.
Oh man, I'm gonna look it up right now because I'm sad.
It's not
I'm a sad person.
It's not 20 years old, but it's probably close.
All right. So, and then we actually have a listener question that someone sent over to us that we definitely wanted to answer, because we don't get these very often. We would certainly appreciate more of them at any point in time. So, if you guys ever have any questions, please let us know. But we definitely want to dive into this one, and it's kind of a fun one, and so I think we can enjoy it. So, let's dive right in here. And
17 years, by the way.
Wow, that is an old song. I'm just having a time trying to get to these show notes, apparently.
Okay, well, let's talk about the
Amonkhet stuff. That's what we're diving into. I wanted to pull up like the actual Wizards website, but
jeez, I tried to help, and you're like, I'm sorry, you can lead the show, okay?
No, you can do it.
No, it's fine. No, it's good.
You can do it. It's okay.
Punch your card. Anyways, let's start with punch cards. There's gonna be punch cards in packs. So Magic has gone the way of games that have tiny boats.
So
is this like you buy like 5 packs and you get the 6th one free?
That would be great.
Man, I mean, there's like a Subway Club card for Magic. That'd be great.
Now, are they perforated anyway?
I think it's implied it is. So like it shows the little So if you
I guess it is. Yeah,
you
yeah,
see
yeah.
the punch card, it shows you a little diagram on the bottom how you're supposed to like pull and separate. But it has 7 tokens on it. So 2 embalmed, 1 exerted, 2 -1/-1 counters, and 2 bricks.
Yeah.
For all you Pink Floyd fans.
Yeah, they're making bricks and walls apparently. All in all,
Do you know how many times that's going to be said during drafts?
Infinite times.
Look, another brick in the wall, and somebody's actually just going to start smacking their head
It's
against
true.
the table.
It's true. That scary judge man from the actual video is going to come out. And
the one that's actually just a butt? Is
yes,
that what you're
correct.
talking about?
Correct. The scary judge man. The scary judge butt man.
Judge Buttman? Yeah, I think you could, if you want to look at the image of that, I'm pretty sure you could just Google
Just don't.
Judge.
It's scary. It's not good.
Butt Judge from Pink Floyd.
But yeah, these are kind of cool. This is like, obviously this is to talk about the mechanics that are actually going to be in set. Not all of them necessarily, but primarily embalmed, exerted, and the -1/-1 counters theme overall.
I'm excited by the brick tokens just because I want to see what other kind of tokens they're going to make. It's like, what other kind of weird tokens that we had in the past? There's been like, I don't know, I guess like charge counters. Like, what would you...
Energy.
No,
you
but
have
like
the
actual things that you put on cards.
It used to be much more common on older cards, like
Tendo Ice Bridge.
Oh, like
Yeah.
arrow counters. on,
arrow
like,
counters,
Saturday.
depletion counters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
There are some weird ones.
isn't there one from Return to Ravnica that's like currency counters, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, we already have those. You just put pennies on it.
It's true.
Oh wait, no. Wait. They look down on that because that's gambling, right?
It's gambling.
Can't use money for tokens. Or
But I don't really see like a whole lot of other things we can really take from them besides like mechanics and them potentially doing this in further future sets, I should say. Do we want to talk about the mechanics right now?
Yeah, we should do that.
So first one is embalmed, and this is an activated ability on creatures from what we've seen so far, and it's a mana cost ability, and you can do it in your graveyard, and you exile the card when you do it, and then you put a token that is a copy of this card, except it's now a zombie.
Yes.
Onto the battlefield. And this isn't something that like can be countered by traditional counter spells. It can still be disallowed.
This is true.
Yeah.
But do you still exile it then?
I assume that it's part of the
it's part of
payment?
the cost.
Yeah, part of the cost.
Then yes. All right. One other thing it mentions here, and I think this is important, they stick it in as the last line of rules text here, but the token doesn't have the mana cost of the card.
Okay, yeah,
so
that's
it's
very
not a
important.
copy of it.
Right.
It's a token of it.
Yeah.
So it does not have a CMC.
This reminds me a lot of what was that card in Innistrad recently? It was like there's a 2/2 for 2, and then you could pay 4 and exile it from a graveyard to put a 2/2 zombie into play.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Is just a common.
Yeah.
Oh, there was a whole cycle of those in that set because you're the ones that made spirits too.
Okay, yeah, it's basically just that. But that one in particular was like a 2/2 that you could exile it and get another 2/2.
I disagree that it's basically just that though, because so they make a token of this.
Well, yeah, but like these ones have like special abilities.
Well, they have the abilities printed on the card, which I think makes it weirder that they don't have a CMC. You know what I mean? Because like if you Cackling counterparted something, it has a CMC. You know what I mean? Because it's a copy of that card. So it's interesting.
Yeah, but it's a nice way for your so far creatures. I don't know if this could actually work. It could work with like really anything else. I don't think flavorfully it would, right? Like you wouldn't embalm like an artifact or anything like that, right?
Doubtful.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And you can't really embalm a spell.
If there isn't a cat that has embalm, then Wizards has failed.
Sure, but it seems like it's going. I don't know if they say this or not, but it's going to be a creature mechanic.
Yeah, for sure.
A zombie cat beast or something like that.
Yes, absolutely.
But I mean, that's kind of what you want a creature mechanic to do. Like it gives you a chance to rebuy a creature, which is nice. So from a kill spell or a wrath or something like that, like that's what you want.
Yeah, this ability, depending on how pushed it is, like True Heart Duelist is the card they show, which is a 2/2 for white and a colorless, and it can block an additional creature each combat. Embalm cost is a white and two generic. Man, Control decks are not going to be big fans of this ability.
No.
Because you already have Scrap Heap Scrounger in the format to contend with. And now you have, like, you got to essentially build an aggressive, like, creature-based deck, depending on how many of these Embalm creatures they print. Now, I will say, I think it's hard for them to print a ton of Embalm creatures because they're making a specific token for each one, which sort of tells me there's not going to be, like, 20 of them in the set.
Yeah.
But, man, that's pretty good when you have that much free recursion on your creatures.
They may only end up being in like certain colors too. We may only see it in like white and black or something like that.
That's possible as well.
But who knows? We only have one card.
Blue,
so
maybe?
far, so.
Blue likes to do that sometimes, too.
Yeah.
Red is probably not embalming. They're like, we should prepare his body. It's like, or we could burn it.
Yeah, we could burn it.
Fire is good.
The next mechanic is Exert. The card we have Exert on it's kind of best just to kind of talk about it that way. It is called Glory Bringer. It is 3 generic red for a 4/4 flying haste dragon. It says you may exert Glory Bringer as you attack or as it attacks. When you do, it deals 4 damage to target non-dragon creature an opponent controls. So when this creature gets exerted, what that means is that it does not untap during your next untap step, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct.
All right.
Yep.
So you can kind of have control over when this does and doesn't untap, and has some interesting synergies with other cards that will be in standard with it, like Dave has already pointed out to us before the cast of Always Watching, or Mike pointed out.
I pointed out.
Okay,
Thanks,
Mike
though.
pointed out. Sorry.
It's okay.
Mike pointed out Always Watching being pretty good with Exert because your creatures don't tap, and Exert doesn't tap them. It just says they don't untap. So
Yeah. I think, like, depending on how they use the mechanic, like, looking at this dragon, like, 5 mana 4/4 with flying with haste is already, I've played enough Stormbringer Dragons in my day to know that, like, sometimes just, like, correct it down and attacking, or Sarkins for that matter, but being able to turn it into, like, a pseudo Flametongue Kavu that also flies, like, there's definitely some, like, plays where you can drop this, attack, exert it, kill the blocker, and then attack their Planeswalker, and, like, that's going to feel really good. So
Right.
I think like Exert already feels like a pretty nice organic mechanic. Like, the drawback makes sense. Like, you made your dragon work really hard last turn, and he's all sweaty, and he's got to go take a shower.
He just needs a nap. This is a pretty good card to cast after someone's casted Gideon. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, that is true.
kill your token, kill your Gideon. Peace. Now, Dragon's got to take a nap. He done did it good.
Now, Over Irwin had pointed out on social media that they don't have reminder text. Now, this is a promo card, so maybe it's
Right.
just because it's a promo.
It's also a rare.
Yeah.
Right, but do you think this is something that may become like an evergreen mechanic?
Maybe, though I don't know what color is still looking for an evergreen
they have
mechanic.
said that this is not something they're looking to make evergreen at this point in time. Like Mario has said that in his blog-a-tog.
Okay.
It feels like the kind of ability that easily could at some point be
Yeah.
evergreen, but I don't think there's only still one color combination they're really looking for an evergreen mechanic for, and that's blue-black because Skulk was so bad. So they literally revisited that this week on.
Yep, Skulk. Sorry guys, if you really
Yeah.
liked it, it's not happening no more.
So no, not right now, sadly. Can you get to the good stuff now?
Oh, you're talking about
Cue up that horn effect. Cue up that horn effect.
all right, we're waiting. Talk about cycling.
Oh my god. Can we get an Astral Slide reprint? Just one time. One time Astral Slide.
I was thinking of so Mike, if they do reprint Astral Slide in the set, like it'll be modern legal.
Oh, stop. Stop. Oh, I just got real sweaty.
Are you exerted? Did you exert yourself?
Mom spaghetti.
But so cycling's going to be back, which has a lot of implications. It's a fan favorite mechanic in general. People like to draw cards, and when you can have basically a modal spell in your hand that allows you to either play a thing or draw a card, that's pretty nice. This also means that we could see things like cycling lands come back because Mario
Those could go into modern, and then Dredge would be disgusting.
I thought we had some.
We have one. No, we don't have any cycling lands.
I thought
No.
we did. I thought Loam decks used them. Maybe I'm
In
thinking
modern?
Legacy.
Because the last time they were printed was Onslaught.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah. That would be a pretty interesting thing. But they've definitely said again in Blogatog, Mario was asked is it an if or a when we will see cycling lands again? He said when. So here's cycling.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know?
That's sweet.
And who knows what kind of cost we'll have. Right now, the only one we have is a 2-mana cycler, which is just 2 generic to cycle.
Which, if you don't know, that is how cycling was originally designed.
Correct.
The first time cycling existed, every cycling cost was 2 generic.
Right.
But then when they reprinted it in Onslaught, they started to experiment with alternative cycling costs.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this just happens to be 2, or if this represents a shift back to generic cycling costs. A shift back to generic is interesting, especially considering the card we're looking at here, which is the Archfiend of Ifnir.
Yeah.
Which is black, and 3 for a 5/4 flying demon. Whenever you cycle or discard another card, put a -1/-1 counter on each creature your opponents control. What if you had a white, like for example, a white resurrection spell? You know what I mean? But you can now play a colorless, a black creature that's colorless to put it into your graveyard. That's an implication we haven't really had in Standard for a little bit.
Yeah.
So that'd be interesting if they were all generic.
The way you said the name of the card,
Ifnir?
it sounded like you were saying it backwards. Because it's demonic.
It sounds like I'm singing like a Missy Elliott song.
Yeah.
Archfiend of Ifnir.
That's great.
So I was gonna say, like, this card is like pretty baller. I think, I don't know. Like,
He's got long arms. I'm sure he's good at basketball.
yeah, he's got a large wingspan. So he has actual wings. I think that the fact that not to talk about cycling specifically, but the fact that it says cycle or just discard a card,
Yeah.
so you can be like, oh, I've got to cast this collective brutality, escalate it twice, kill all your stuff, like drain you, discard a card.
My 2-drop was the snake that's Wild Mongrel.
Yeah,
played this
yeah.
game.
Even,
Look at this.
Anything with just a free discard effect. But yeah, that's a good one. I was trying to think of one earlier, and I was like, do we even have any?
Oh man,
anymore?
and you'll still have madness in the format too when this card is here. So it's like, oh, I'll discard this fiery temper to my key to the city to kill this guy. Give your team -1/-1. Have this demon. Well, I know what I'm playing in Standard.
Yeah, this thing.
That's not true. It won't be good enough.
This thing's gross, but I mean, it very well could be good enough though. I mean, the fact that you could just cycle it, it's not just like, oh man, my hand is all clunked up with these 5-drops.
Yeah, and I think it might even have modern implications. People were already talking about this being in Living End. Like now, Living End could also stand to gain a lot from a set that has new cycling cards.
Yeah.
But this card in particular, especially in something like a mirror match, where you cast your Living End, you have creatures in play, and you start cycling more creatures. Well, how do you get through the stalemate? You make their creatures smaller. So it's kind of nifty.
Yeah, and then the last thing, just because we talked about the brick counters, is we did get a thing that uses them. It is the Oracle's Vault, and it is 4 generic for an artifact. It says, tap 2 and tap it. Exile the top card of your library. Until the end of turn, you may play that card, and then put a brick counter on the Oracle's Vault. So it's not cast, so it's play, so you can play lands, right? Correct?
Yeah, this is the Chandra Pyromaster 0 ability.
And it has a second ability. You have to tap it for that. I don't know if I said that or not. And its second ability is tap, exile the top card of your library. Until the end of turn, you may play that card without paying its mana cost, right? And you can only activate that ability if you have 3 or more brick counters on Oracle's Vault.
Right, so basically once you build the vault, you don't have to pay for it anymore, and then you just get to do it for free. Yeah, this is a sweet card. I don't know if this is going to be good enough for Constructed or anything, but
It feels close.
mean, this is at the very least an awesome limited card, right? If you're playing kind of a grindy deck.
You know what's really cool with this card? Something called Paradox Engine, which has already been kind of pointed out. So that's a thing you could maybe do.
That's cool. I don't know if that's good enough, but
It's got to be close.
It's,
cool.
it's pretty darn close.
Again, how many do-nothing artifacts can you put into your deck?
It's very true.
Man, that actually sounds sweet.
But it's nice that it says play, just because it's sheer fact. I flipped a land, I'll play a land. It's not. I think cast would have really been unfortunate for this card, but play feels a lot better.
Yeah. No, I like. I like this. It's cool, and I if we have actual brick tokens, I have to assume we're going to get more than just this that use the brick
one would
tokens.
think, yeah.
And then you could have a commander themed deck where you just build walls and buildings and you proliferate.
Yeah. We finally going to see contraptions, you think?
No,
Never.
Man.
While we're still on this page, can we talk about the Amonkhet game day play mat for a second? I want to point that out.
Oh yeah,
I think I know where you're going with this.
So I just like really like the worthy part of it.
Worthy champion.
Like you're not just a champion. Before in the past, you've just been a game day champion. This is you're a worthy champion. Oh man.
I assume that means Nicobolus will eat you first.
That's how like Eldritch gods work. So
Yeah.
that makes sense. I just want to mention that for a second though. That it's like that. That's a nice little flavor thing. That's pretty cool here. Like all right, you don't die today. Good job.
And then we also got a bunch of other cards that are going to be in Amonkhet that are going to be in the intro decks as well. So they just like, well, we're going to put these in here, so we're going to let you know about what they are and give you the intro deck lists, which are like these 30 card decks that you can give for people to start learning how to play Magic, basically. And these are going to be handed out the Amonkhet open house as well, which is something that your local store may or may not be hosting. But we do get some interesting ones. What's up, Fling? You are actually somewhat needed in this format for some things.
I mean, I don't know about needed, but it definitely
appreciated.
Makes another infinite combo deck like closer, I guess.
Yeah. What's the creature? The 4-drop?
Something
Consulate crack. No.
Consulate construct.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So like the one that works with Wandering Fumarole to create
infinitely large
thing. Yeah, Fling seems good there. I will say Fling also may be something that the red green energy deck wants.
Yeah, the Pummeler deck definitely wants Fling. It wants to be like, oh well, you did something. I guess I'll just instead deal this directly to your face.
Throw it at you.
Just throw it at you.
Also important, we have a Tog in the format.
Yeah, very true.
Fling is the kind of card that can just get you sometimes.
And then we also have a new confirmed creature type in Jackal.
Wait, Jackal.
Are they going to turn Jackalpup back into a Jackal then?
Oh snap!
Not a Hound or whatever.
Oh, the greatest errata of all.
Maybe like I think like Jackals here though are like humanoid. Am I crazy?
Correct. Yes, they are Anubis-esque characters.
Yeah.
But I just want to point that out. Get something new. The Mistform, what Ultimus grows. It is now a Jackal now.
Yeah, we have jackals and hyenas, minotaurs.
Yeah.
We had a beetle.
I think it's
an insect, but whatever.
It's pretty cool to see some returning creature types that we haven't seen for a while.
Crab.
Oh, we saw. I guess maybe not. Crabs weren't in. Nope. Were they? I can't remember. I haven't drafted enough.
We got the name of the cat god off of Graceful Cat's flavor text.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
So it's Oketra.
Oketra.
Okitra.
I get it.
Oketra.
Oketra.
But some pretty interesting stuff to kind of come out of this set. So we'll we start spoiler season. Spoiler season starts full swing next week, right?
Wait, but speaking of foiler season,
transition. Whoa. Yeah, we have the masterpieces for this set, which are Invocations. Which means, after seeing everything that's in here, nothing. It's just like, spells. Which is fine, I guess. But, yeah. But they are interesting, to say the least.
Be honest about them. I'm going to argue with you, so you can be as negative as you want.
Well, let's. It's hard to paint a picture with words what these are, but they are a drastic shift from what we've seen from previous masterpiece sets, from expeditions and from inventions.
I disagree.
I think that they are different enough.
Which was the point of the series,
and that's fine. But I mean, like they are different than what we've seen previously.
But I don't. So they're different from what we've seen previously. But I think that thought is like almost like a misnomer. Like they distinctly said that the planes, like special like masterpieces, invocations, etc. The plane will be reflected in their design for them. So Zendikar, had expeditions. The focus was truly on the art for the lands because it was about lands. That's what Zendikar's about. Masterpieces, were all about artifacts and had specific like metal based borders. They were sort of crazy, but they're supposed to look like artifacts were important. This is the Egyptian plane. So invocations look like hieroglyphics. So I think when I saw these, I've seen a lot of people seem very surprised, but I'm not that surprised by this. I don't think this is that. I don't know. So, I don't think it's that surprising that they look like this.
So I'm only saying that they are distinctly related to the set. I will agree with that. But the other two Masterpiece sets we've had have been pseudo full frame, pseudo full art, mainly kept to the borders as far as embellishments, as far as that goes, and still somewhat retaining a sense of a Magic card, if that makes sense.
That's the thing that I don't like. I don't know. I guess they're kind of cool, but they look too different than a normal Magic
the Invocations, like Mike said, they're very heavily themed in Egyptian culture. They look like
we should say ancient Egyptian.
Ancient Egyptian culture.
Right.
Yes, very true. They look like they have hieroglyphics on them.
No, they actually do. Like there are hieroglyphics before the word starts. Like
yes,
yeah.
They are very stylized. The border, as far as the art itself, it is not full art. It does not go past the card text box or anything like that. It is more traditional in that way of a Magic card, but it's ugly. I don't have any other words for it. Like aesthetically speaking, like I don't find these pleasing whatsoever. And I understand that for this, like their intent is to take risks, and that's fine. Like this is a risk that they're going to take.
Get messy, make mistakes.
But
Magic school buses.
The art on these is great. Like I will not disagree with anyone that. Like if you look at the art on these cards, they are fantastic. I think the border actively distracts from that art. And I don't feel like I got that same sense with the other masterpieces. I think that the border added to those, and maybe you can have an argument for the expeditions. Maybe you didn't like that the Zendikari sort of focused frame, and I can understand that. And I really truly feel like the inventions, like the border, really added to the flavor of what they were doing. It really added to the overall aesthetic appeal of these cards. So I feel like the border on this definitely takes it away. I don't feel like these are like the art inside the card is not as there's not as much work put into the borders. I just don't see it. Borders look schlocky.
So I'm going to rebut here a little bit. I will agree they don't look like Magic cards. I won't fight with you on that. They actively don't. But I also think that like you're only going to get 40 of these. I'd much rather see them try these sort of crazy things here because like the people they do appeal to are going to really, really like them. I'm medium plus on them. So like I like them. I'm not going to actively seek them. I did ask my wife, who's pretty casual. She liked them. But what I've seen from competitive Magic players so far is like vitriol, like active hate. Well, it's not for you. None of these have been for you.
No.
So, but what I'm going to offer on the frame is actively look at how the frame works. Okay. Yes, you say the focus isn't on the art, but do you notice the 3D imaging leading into the art? The actual depth applied here?
I do.
Yeah,
the
it's like you're looking through like a window.
The implication that this is actually wall art. Like these are hieroglyphics. This is active like wall art for these. This is my implication with this is a window into that card.
If they had gone like hard in the paint and making them like actual like representation of Magic cards on hieroglyphics and just like went for it completely and didn't try to focus on actually making like realistic art that you would see on any other Magic card in the set realistically, then maybe you would have like a convincing argument. But it doesn't.
I still think I have a convincing argument. You just don't like it.
Oh, well, but I like my personal opinion is I don't buy into that. Like that doesn't suspend my belief enough.
Sure, I understand, but like, I don't know if buying into it is could be the right term. Like, this is the only card I've ever seen that has this 3D framed image going to it that actually presents like it is an actual like picture frame. It's the only card that can you think of any other cards that have looked like that presented it that way?
No, and I think for good reason. Like I don't think it's appealing. I don't think it's visually appealing.
I get it. You hate it. You can ignore it.
Yeah, and I can, but I mean, like I still play the game, and I still have some like opinions about how I feel about the cards artistically. I think that artistically they don't add anything to the game.
See, I disagree with that.
At least for the frames. The actual arts, we have to separate the frame and the we haven't even talked about the fonts. The fonts they've chose to use for these cards is terrible, in my opinion.
Yeah, you can't read the card names.
You can't read the card names or the card types very clearly, and the actual font for like the rules text is not good, in my opinion.
Let's put it this way. So the first one that I saw was the Aben Mind Sensor. and I looked at it, and it took me like a good 10 seconds to figure out like what it even was, because it didn't just it's kind of hard to read like if you look at it right away, because it starts off with the hieroglyphics first, and then the words kind of mix in with it.
Yeah, I'll give you that. The creatures fare a lot worse than the spells do. I'll give you that. Because
power and toughness?
Adding a creature type and the power and toughness looks ugly.
Power and
I
toughness
won't
being
argue that.
on top of
the
each
creatures
other?
fare a lot worse than the spells do. And I don't know why there's creatures at all. Like calling them invocations and then adding creatures doesn't make sense to me. But I don't know. I totally understand why you're negative on them. I'm not saying these are like the best thing ever. And like looking at them, like I don't actively want any of them. Like maybe the counterspell. I kind of like the counterspell. But
I like that art.
if I open that counterspell, I'll put it in battle box, and then you can hate me forever.
I'll cringe every time I draw it. And then you'll know I have counterspell.
Well, that works for me.
Yeah.
Now I'll get the chain lightning then too. We'll go hard in the paint that way. But I think like I think it's okay to not like this, but also not to like fault Wizards for it. Does that make sense? Like, I think like they can make a daring design, because I think there's gonna be a lot of people who do really like this. I think you're gonna be surprised with how many people like this.
I mean, I've already seen on Twitter that people really like it, and in our local community, people have stated that they like it.
So like,
I don't necessarily find it surprising. Like they're entitled to their opinions, but I don't see the appeal. I think that the overall, the entire package, even with good art, like everything else, just really takes me away from these cards. So,
I mean, none of these series are really for me. So I get it. I just feel like it's just like so gimmicky. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have a problem with the expeditions. I thought that was really cool, and that was like something that made sense in Zendikar, because they had the original, I guess, treasures, in Zendikar, where they inserted old cards into the actual packs, and like that was like one of the coolest things they ever did. So like bringing back something like that made sense in Zendikar, but now that they're doing it in like every single set, it feels like it's gonna get old really quick, and I feel like they're almost gonna run out of cards to do. After a while.
Well, I think that's why it's important to notice that this one, outside of like Force of Will, doesn't have the chase cards that the other ones had. I think that's the direction it's going to go. They're only going to be 40 some cards, including cards from the set, which we don't have yet.
And apparently the theme with these cards so far has been like oppression, like oppressive cards, which sure for this set kind of makes sense. Or like devastating cards could be another way to kind of put that.
That'll be the next one, right?
Oh yeah, but so that's kind of maybe the theme that they are going with from what people can gather.
Yeah, I just hate that they feel the need that they have to do this kind of thing. Like a friend of mine asked me, he's like kind of a casual player at this point. Like he basically just strictly plays Magic Online. He doesn't go to tournaments or anything like that. He just drafts essentially, and he kind of is like, what are these things? Like I don't understand what they are, and I'm like. They're basically like the baseball cards with the jersey inside of them. Like that's
right.
That's what it is.
I think your friend complaining about that is actively
no, he wasn't complaining. He just didn't like understand what they were. He's like, is this just what the set's gonna look like, or is this gonna be like, is this like a special thing? Because he didn't know.
Sure.
And I'm just like,
I'm sorry for insulting your friend.
Yeah. I was just like, it's just super ultra mythic, hyper rare. Whatever.
So I would argue, this is a different discussion, but I would argue that these are actively doing something you want to have done, though. So look at Battle for Zendikar, and I know the numbers on this because I actually just read the article from MTG Goldfish over the weekend about like rotation. Battle for Zendikar is an awful set. From a value perspective, it's pathetically bad, and it was for a long time. There's only 3 cards that are worth more than $5 currently. Gideon. Drana.
For casual.
Yeah. She's a
Yeah.
vampire.
Wait,
She's an ally, and she does +1/+1 counters.
Oh, come on,
She's
this makes
a trifecta.
sense. Who is the boss? The villain of Zendikar.
Oh, Obnixilis.
No. Obnixilis is $3. He had a dual deck printing.
I guess
Ulamog.
that's true. Oh yeah, Ulamog. Duh.
And that was true when the set was still being opened, and the set is not loved. That set opened a ton, though. People kept drafting that set. You know why? Because the thought of opening a special card sold boosters, right? And you can also distinctly look at, like, because of cards like the Expeditions, that's also a reason why, like, things like dual lands, actual dual lands that are in those sets, are still only worth $3 or $4. Standard as a whole, sets that have these in them are cheaper than standard sets in the past because of these cards. People actively want to open packs to find these cards, but also it allows standards players to sell these cards to then buy more standard packs or standard cards. So you can actually look at a correlation to this thing happening, reducing the price of standard, and that alone is fine with me. At the end of the day, you can go an entire block never seeing one of these ever and it not matter. And so like these can be ugly, you can hate them, you won't draft Dave, you'll never open one of these, you don't care about it, but you'll enjoy the fact that when you go to buy standard singles, they're a little cheaper than they would have been, and that alone makes these worthwhile.
You make some good points. A little part of me, and I know this doesn't make any sense, or if you try to rationalize it, but a little part of me is like, man, I wish they would just like maybe focus a little less on making these crazy cards and maybe design some sweet sets and
this doesn't take away from
fixed
like,
tournament
design
and fixed tournament magic and do all this.
This is not.
I know.
R&D is not like working on the card frame.
I already prefaced it by saying it didn't make any sense, but a little part of me is like, you know what? Maybe we could do some other stuff that.
I don't know. At the end of the day, I get why you're negative on it. I get why you don't like them. I don't think there's anything I could do to convince you to like them. Like, aesthetics are a very personal thing. I think they're okay, and I'm happy to. I think this excites me. Maybe if I don't like these 100%, like these are hard to read, etc. It does excite me for what ones going forward will look like, because this tells me they're willing to try some really outside the box things, and I'm happy for that.
Yeah,
I want to like them. I want to like them. They feel like
they
feel really. They feel really.
Hate.
No, they feel really forced.
Well, there's a force.
No.
Yeah.
Forced.
Do we actually mention which cards these are yet?
No.
We should probably do that.
So we have Vindicate, Force of Will, Mind Twist, Worship, a Cryptic Command, Arc Lightning, Aven Mind Sense,
Chain Lightning.
Chain Lightning.
So you couldn't even read
it. Chain Lightning. Oh well, because the art reminds me of Arc Lightning because it's 3 dudes getting shocked. Aven Mind Sensor, Pact of Negation, Wrath of God, Maelstrom Pulse, Counterbalance, Counter Spell, and Sphinx. Consecrated Sphinx are the cards. I agree that these will theoretically help open packs, but I do wonder like where the overall desirability of them will land. I think that overall these might be less desirable.
Oh, I agree. I think they'll be the cheapest of the run so far.
Yeah,
but I think that's okay.
But it also might have influence on like the actual cards being printed. So
that's fair as well. So take a look at the Counterspell and like the Wrath of God or like the Vindicate. Do those look better to you than the other ones? The ones that are just very clean with a lot less text?
Yes.
Okay. I wonder if this would have fared better, because like looking at something like Counterbalance, or even like if Chain Lightning was just Lightning Bolt, you know what I mean? Like it seems to me like maybe this would have fared better if they would have gone for things that have just the least amount of text possible.
Yeah.
But
I don't.
Just a thought.
Maybe it's just like these don't really. When I look at these cards, they don't invoke like color identity.
I get it. I'll give you that. They don't.
And that actively detracts from me liking them as well. If I want to cast a Chain Lightning, like I want it to be red, and these are all like super brown cards. They're all like just like, oh, look at all these brown cards I have. So I'm sorry. Rest in peace coverage. Rest in peace coverage for people that play these. We're prepared to like get figured out by coverage and then never have a match.
I look forward to the day that Patrick Sullivan just laughs at all of these.
I think that's another thing for me, and this is just like me personally, is like I identify Magic cards most easily by the art. Like if somebody plays a card, if I just see the artwork, it's just like, oh, boom, I know what that is. A lot of times if I'm watching coverage, and I know like the commentators kind of joke about this all the time, like if somebody plays an Expedition, it's like, you have no idea. I have no idea what it is.
It's also the glare issue too, to be quite honest.
But like if I'm playing against somebody and they have it, and like I don't know, like I don't know. It's just
and that's fair.
And who knows how much these are actually going to be played in like tournament decks?
Right.
I don't know.
There'll always be that one person. So the color identity is done on the sides where they have the little nickel bolus sphere or spear, and then they have the colors with it. But the focus is definitely on the gold. Like even looking at the foil, I don't think it looked brown to look gold, but colorblind, I guess. But I look gold. Gold.
Gold.
So, anyways, let us know what your opinion on them is. Obviously, I'm
It's
outnumbered
gonna be mixed.
here.
It's gonna be divided.
Said help. Outnumbered. Said help.
But I mean, like, it's not like your points aren't, don't have merit. They're obviously, you're right. They're not for us. They're for people to want to open when they buy their sealed product, which is fine.
Absolutely.
That's not what we do typically. And it's just like, I'm disappointed because these are definitely less desirable for me personally than like an expedition would be, or a invention would be.
Yeah,
typically.
I think
you open one of those, you might consider about keeping it if it could fit into a deck. If I open one of these, I'm probably just not going to keep it.
I was lucky enough to open 2 expeditions in the last block. Snap sold them, didn't care what they were. So I for the most part. Now I will say I'm much more likely to keep one of these. If I open like the counterspell, we'll keep it.
Oh yeah.
The Wrath of God, we'll keep it. You know what I mean? Like Vindicate, go keep it.
Yeah.
So,
and a lot of these, like, some of them are obviously 4-ofs, but there's a lot of ones that are just like 1-offs that you would have in a deck anyway. Like Maelstrom Pulse might just be one of them.
Oh, the Consecrated Sphinx is definitely like for commander players.
Yeah,
so.
just like go I wanna. So maybe, I don't know. I'm definitely not hyped, and I do hope that they don't try to like completely rebuild a Magic card from the floor up like in the next time. Like Magic cards look good already.
Yeah, what it comes back to me, what it comes back with for me is just it just looks too different than a regular Magic card. Like I didn't mind the inventions because I thought those look cool and like they still look like a real Magic card. And the expeditions, as much as they all kind of look the same to me, still look like a real Magic card. These ones are just like way off the beaten path. But like you said, Mike, I mean maybe they're just taking this opportunity to experiment with it, and we'll see what people think, and then maybe they'll
and hey,
tone it back a little bit.
We did get some awesome new art, and if you like the proxy guy, he will make an appealing frame for you.
He'll put it on a real Magic card and be like, look how sweet this would have looked.
Yeah. I can tell you, I trust that man's opinion. He was very disappointed about these frames. So, but let's move to our last community topic. It is about Announcement Day. They've announced that Announcement Day has been moved.
So now we're announcing that Announcement Day will be announced on another day.
Yeah. Announcement Day has been postponed.
Weird to announce an
this
announcement
ends
day.
the announcement.
It's going to be in June. Now at this point in time, then you give a specific date. Correct?
Sometime in June. They talk about they are planning something for the 25th anniversary. And also the 15th anniversary of Magic Online.
Finally coming back to Origins, where the game was debuted in Columbus in June. Just saying, that would be great. Just because I can go do it.
Well, the 25th anniversary will be next year.
Oh. Well, fine. I don't know.
So they're planning that for next year.
Okay, come back to Origins next year. I don't care.
But
was Origins one of those weird conventions that Magic no longer has a presence in, despite getting its start there?
Yeah.
Baby, come back.
I don't know what to tell you.
You can blame it. Oh, I'm sorry.
So, yeah. Continue to wait for Announcement Day. All right. Now, before we jump into our next segment, we definitely give a shout out to our sponsors, both Comic Town and BCW. For Comic Town, the next 2 Mondays, April 3rd and the 10th, Comic Town's modern events will be paid out in Modern Masters 2017 packs. And on the horizon, we, of course, have the next Championship Series Classic. It's going to be the Spring Classic on April 29th. It'll be a standard format classic right after the release of Amonkhet. And, of course, if you do need some supplies or anything like that, please head over to Comic Town and buy some BCW supplies. And you can also check BCW out on bcwsupplies.com for some awesome sleeves, deck boxes, what have you. They have them, so definitely check them out.
Morgan, did we get supplies?
We may have gotten a little a care package from BCW, and we fully intend to be giving some of that stuff away to our lovely listeners. So more on that later on.
Yeah. Nice.
So, Dave, I know that you're a bit crunched for time, and I definitely wanted to do our question to show because it was listener submitted. So do you want to put competitive in the back here for a little bit?
Let's just
and then
speed
do
through
the-
competitive.
No, we can. I probably have enough time to cover.
Let's just
Okay,
speed through
I just want to
competitive.
make sure. So competitive, we had just one GP over the weekend. It was GP Orlando, and it was Kaladesh Aether Revolt sealed. And obviously, we don't do a whole lot of limited talk on this podcast. It's not why you listen to us. And
Unless it's Modern Masters Limited.
unless it's
We'll talk
we
about
can
that
I
all
can
day.
talk about that for days upon days upon days.
Oh.
Don't worry about that.
Speaking of, I'm gonna fire up Magic Online while you go into that.
Wait, didn't you just say that?
Yeah,
No. I did we'll just say an inebriated draft last week, and I don't remember what was in my deck. So
Okay, he just wants to look at it.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll see how
So-
bad it is.
so we have the winner being Joel Larson, or also commonly known as Swedish Kibler, winning the entire tournament, and he defeated Noah Walker in the actual finals. Other notable top eights were Alexander Hain, Chris Pikula, and actually a local Columbus resident. He's going to the Ohio State University and plays at Comic Town, and I'm going to butcher his name. Do any of you fine gentlemen know how to pronounce his name?
I think it's Zyle Yao.
Zyle Yao.
I could be wrong about this.
He top eighted.
I've actively played with him multiple
Oh yeah, most
times.
certainly.
So
Yeah.
he's a
so-
really nice guy, though.
Yeah, congrats to him. Like that's pretty cool to see. Be like, oh, I know that guy. But yeah, he top aided, queued for the pro tour. He said that you know he is a freshman at Ohio State, and that was one of his goals while in college is to queue for the pro tour. He's like, I didn't think I'd do it in my freshman year, so that's great. Congrats to him.
What am I living for now? I don't know.
I mean, probably the college degree.
Oh,
I
okay.
imagine.
I guess that's fair.
So. But I'm very excited to see that Pikula did really
Yes.
well. I want to get into the Hall of Fame so
So this gives him enough points to get back on. He needed 3, right?
Yeah,
he was already eligible for voting.
Oh, is
He
he?
already
Okay.
had enough points, but this gets him at least back onto the Pro Tour,
Sure.
which hopefully he can turn that into another invite.
Yeah.
Start chaining them together.
That would be awesome. I'd really like. This has been like the low key best story in Magic. Like, come on, Chris. Everyone needs this.
I think he's pretty deserving on this one too, because he even said, he did some of the commentary for the Mox Championship, and he said I've just been drafting this format nonstop. Like he's probably drafted it more than most people out there, and he's obviously put in the work, and it showed he went undefeated on day one and kind of hung on there at the end to make top 8. So I think pretty much everybody was pulling for him. So.
Yeah, pretty excited. So
Yeah, that's awesome. The other thing that we did have over the weekend, or recently at the very least, was the Modern Mox tournament. And when we kind of break it down, we do see a lot of Abzan and a lot of Death Shadow, which obviously makes sense. It feels like those are sort of point counterpoint decks in the format. The Abzan's going to be packing a lot of removal that doesn't care about creature size, so no bolts or anything like that.
Yep, I played in Common Town's Modern event last night, which was Monday night. It was actually a Grand Prix trial, and I just played pretty much your standard Death Shadow deck. Basically the Jund splashing Lingering Souls on the sideboard, and played against Abzan round 1 and just got killed. Game 2, I literally cast all 4 Death Shadows and 2 Tarmogoyfs. I think I even brought back a Death Shadow and recast it, and I never got to attack once. They just all got pathed and Fatal Push and Liliana make me sacrifice.
Yeah.
It was just that's kind of the formula. I mean, that's what you need. And then on top of that, Abzan has main deck Lingering Souls, which is a pretty good card. Even things like Siege Rhino are kind of difficult to kill for Death Shadow, because you have to have a revolted Fatal Push, which isn't always guaranteed. So it felt like an uphill battle for sure. So I mean, I think if Death Shadow continues to be the top deck in the format, Abzan's pretty well positioned.
yeah,
Yeah, and you even have Affinity, showing up, Ban Eldrazi. We would have a Stormless showing up. So a lot of Dredge actually going 6-2 in this tournament as well.
It's
so
a pretty cheap deck on Moto, which
yeah,
is
very
important
very
to
much
point
so.
out.
But a fairly good smattering of modern decks kind of showing up here.
That Baneldrazi deck is definitely the Eldritch Evolution version.
I want to do it so bad.
I was like, String Root Geist. Oh, I know what we're doing.
Oh, God. I just need it.
It has Acidic Slime.
I know.
There's definitely one of the Death Shadow decks is playing one Veral's the Scar Striped as well.
Oh, snap.
Which is hilarious with Death Shadow. One mana, give a guy +13/+13.
Wow.
Yeah, that.
I love that.
His power toughness exists wherever he is.
I don't think it's actually good, but it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
So yeah, Veral's. Let me pull up this card here. Yeah, each creature card in your graveyard has Scavenge. So Scavenge cost is equal to the mana cost. So yeah, if you have a dead Death Shadow, you just
even
pay,
like
pay
Goyf,
black.
Goyf as well.
Even
Yeah,
Goyf's
yeah.
pretty good there. But yeah, that's pretty great. Yeah, I don't know how good it is, but it's adorable. So, but yeah, so definitely check out that tournament. It's a pretty big deal. It was, pretty representative of where Modern more or less is pretty much at. I wouldn't expect it. You see like going to one of your local IQs or anything like that, and expect to be like it'll Abzan in Death Shadow though, because that's just not how Modern operates. But
I do think I think people are starting to. You see the format starting to adjust to Death Shadow a little bit. I mean, you still see it out there in pretty large numbers. I mean, not only in just this tournament, but I mean, you guys played Modern over the weekend, right?
yeah,
I sure did.
And I think, you will see the Death Shadow decks out there, but I think people are now warping their decks or just the strategies that they're playing based on Death Shadow being a thing. Like we said, like with Abzan. Even things like I think like blue-white control I think is like actually pretty well positioned.
Sure.
So
Even something as simple as like Spreading Seas, it can actually be pretty devastating for some of the builds of Death Shadow. So, yeah. Speaking of that Modern that we played over the weekend, I don't think we're going to get too much into it, but I will say the event at Empire got 105 players.
yeah, for Modern, and just like not necessarily. There's no IQ connected or anything like that. It did pay out in Modern Masters 2017, which is a huge draw for a lot of people. But it was a 4 times Planeswalker Points multiplier, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, on par with like the Comic Town Classic events.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it was kind of crazy. And it was, I don't know, like we were trying to guess the number that would be there, and none of us got close.
No,
So it's pretty sweet.
yeah. So yeah, a good turnout, and then like it's just it further proves and reinforces that Modern is just what people want to play a lot of times.
The people's format.
But I mean, other than that, I drafted some Modern Masters 2017, and it was great.
Can I just say that Phantom draft events for this set are the best thing ever?
Yeah, that's what I've been doing on Magic Online.
Just chain Phantom drafts together.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah, just a lot of 2-1s, unfortunately, but hey, you still get 100 play
just get to
points.
play.
You
just keep playing.
Just keep going. So I have been doing my fair share of that, and it's just so much fun. It's like one of the weird formats where it's like I get this one. Like I did 2 drafts on Sunday. They were live drafts. They were team drafts, so obviously a little bit of a different format. But I was able to go like 5-1 between the 2 drafts, which like felt great. And it only reinforces that blue-white flicker is just by far the best.
Yeah, it
archetype.
really is.
It's just like the best thing you could be doing in that draft, which is unfortunate.
I sent the picture of the deck that I had the other night.
Yeah,
I had 6 Mist Ravens.
yeah.
guys, this deck is sick. Come on.
I mean,
Dave was looking back at his inebriated draft. It looks
my
like
drunk draft.
it looks like a deck.
It looks sweet, man. Like I gotta say, my play was not sweet. So I definitely drafted it. Played 1 match. I attacked with a Vampire Aristocrat into double Youthful Knight. Got double blocked. I sacrificed 1 creature, pass priority. My Aristocrat died.
Oh.
And then I conceded and then closed the laptop.
This is shame concession.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was a
shame
shame.
concede.
It was the concede to all the way just turning off the computer, and then being like, I'm not in any shape to finish this draft. We'll come back to this one, and hopefully salvage a 2-1 out of it. So, love those leagues.
yeah, it's great. All right, I think that's pretty much everything that we want to talk about for competitive. let's move on to our listener question. So we got this question from Austin Thies. Thank you very much, Austin. And his question was, or is, what is your favorite tournament that you ever played in? What did you play, and what made it so special? So thank you again for the question, Austin. I thought this was a really good question. It's, something personal, and not something that we necessarily talk about like a whole bunch, and we've been to a heck of a lot of tournaments. But is there one in your mind that kind of stands out as to be like the quintessential, the best?
I know my
or
answer.
at least a
I feel
fan
like
favorite or a favorite.
A fan favorite. I want to go ahead and thank Austin for the question as well, and thank him for distinctly saying that I was his favorite host.
Well, I read that a little bit differently. I thought he said that I was the favorite host.
I mean,
he said Morgan was like the host with the most. And I thought that meant like the most everything.
No, he says Morgan's like a ghost with the most. Like he's Beetlejuice. I think that means you're a villain.
Oh.
Anyways, I'm just making things up now. I guess my favorite tournament, I guess maybe this is sort of like generic, but like when I thought about this when we got the email, because we got the email over the weekend and Morgan and I were sort of talking about it, and would be the Columbus Open that I won. Which I think it's easy to say that like a tournament where you have success is going to be a favorite, but there are actually a number of reasons why that tournament was my favorite. One, I won it, so there's that. Two, it was in actually Columbus, like it was in my back door.
Yeah, you had a hometown victory,
and like it felt like it was sort of the culmination of a lot of like Rocky style training that we had done down here. So been a number of years of playing with the Cube group down here and really working on getting better, and felt very satisfying to that was an open that had 1,100 plus people, was an obnoxious number of rounds. I think it was 11 rounds. Mm-hmm. And went 10-1, after losing round 1. Like that felt crazy. I got into top 4 after my opponent killed their own Aetherling with an Elspeth.
Yep.
Like I had a little bit of like divine intervention here. The guys to say Traff token hanging out behind me.
So not to regress to our previous topic, but I did get to do something in our drafts that you probably shouldn't be able to do in Magic, which was sorcery speed kill an Obsidat with the Liliana of the Veil. Great.
Yeah, you should not be able to do that.
Great. Anyway, continue.
That's awesome. I mean, those achievements are fun. I'm also the guy who managed to kill a what was the serpent that could bounce and had prowess?
Oh, ancient something.
Ancient like lake serpent or something like that. Yeah, I got to kill that with an Elspeth -2. So I've got
lake ancient.
Yeah. So that that was fun. I did it playing a deck that I designed, like that was fully my own from the ground up, and it top-aided the Indie Open the week before, and had taken it here and won an event with it, and sort of did a lot to sort of prove that I felt strongly about like my own deck building skills, like that I could take my own list into a format that was really dominated by 2 or 3 really big decks. You had Mono Black Devotion, you had Mono Blue Devotion, you had Red Devotion, you had Blue White Control. Like I felt pretty happy about being able to navigate that sort of field. And then like winning that, going back to being in Columbus, like winging it with like all my friends around, and then like I even got to do like the sideboard interview with Ruben Bressler, who like was still working for Star City at the time, and he was local. So we had this kind of like cool moment where it was like you managed to like walk into your like backyard, like I said, and like do this and have all your friends there, and like after winning that, just like hanging out around the because I didn't play the Legacy Open because I was sick as a dog, which tells you how like fun this tournament was, despite the fact that I was like really sick afterwards. But like just like I don't know, a lot of goodwill from people like in person and on Facebook, and just like that's the best moments in the Magic community, where you build these relationships with people and you work hard for this, and you get sort of like the payoff on multiple ends. So that tournament always is going to stick out in my mind, and that's why I literally keep the trophy in my living room, because I like looking at it, and my wife doesn't make me put it away, which is nice. She's got all these like sports trophies from high school and stuff, and I've got my one Magic trophy, so leave me be. But that would be my favorite.
So I didn't get a pre-screening of this question, so I had to think about it for a minute. I think the tournament that immediately popped into my head is probably the one I'm going to go with, because I don't There are a lot that are probably up there, but I think if I had to pick one, it'd be this is a pretty long time ago at this point, but I think it was like 2005. It was New England Regionals. So this is back when they had nationals, and you had to qualify for nationals by top fouring a regional tournament. Much in kind of the same way that our PTQs work now, except you didn't get to go to a pro tour. But so playing at regionals, and this will also show you how long ago this was. I was playing Tron lands and green cards. So you never catch me dead.
Tooth and nail?
Oh yeah. So I was playing mono green tooth and nail. This was in standard, and I thought I had a pretty good list. It wasn't anything. I didn't create it or anything like that. But
now, did you get this list from somewhere, not play a game with it, but make 5 changes to it?
Sounds about right. No, I don't think I actually made that many changes to it.
But you made changes. So you've been this way for a long time.
I think the only thing I did is I took out the what was the indestructible 11.
Oh, Darksteel Colossus, right?
Yeah, I think I took out the Darksteel Colossus and played like a second Sundering Titan because it was actually more castable. And like if you cast a Sundering Titan, you're just winning anyway, so you don't need an 11 indestructible.
Yeah, but it was sweet.
But in any case, I lost a mirror match round 1. And at that time,
to the Darksteel Colossus. Tell me you lost to the Darksteel Colossus.
No, at that time that was like a pretty popular deck. So like it was kind of warped. Like I had the main deck Plow Unders and stuff for the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And the version that I played had like a semi-transformational sideboard that had Iwamari of the Open Fist, which is a 4-mana 5/5 trample that your opponent gets to put a legend into play if they have one in their hand. And Troll Ascetic. So you get to kind of like board into this like more mid-rangey kind of almost aggressive style green deck. But anyway, I lost round 1, and I'm pretty sure it was like 9 or 10 rounds. Like it was a pretty long tournament, and then I ended up just like winning out, and then got into top 8, and then of course only top 4 advances. And I played against like the worst possible matchup I could ever play. It was like a mono red aggressive deck with like main deck Zozu the Punishers and stuff, and I have like multiple like I have like Kodama's Reaches in my deck and stuff like that, and then somehow I was able to beat it. I don't know how. Still, I even like mind slavered somehow like in one of the games, like Phantom Shrapnel Blast himself. So like I felt like you lose round 1 and you're kind of like back against the wall, and then you just kind of you just got to put your head down and put your nose to the grindstone, get to work, all the cliches. But like that qualified me for like my first, big turn. Like at that time I had never played in a pro tour, so I got to like go to nationals, which was in Baltimore. So I got to like travel to a nationals and play in this big tournament. So like that's what got me there and got me like my first like real taste of like. Nationals wasn't quite a pro tour, but it was pretty close back then. I felt like Nationals was like a pretty big deal. So that's the one that sticks out for me as like one of my first like big breakthroughs.
Nice.
I guess it's my turn. I don't have as many accolades as the 2 other gentlemen here on the podcast. So
that's not what the question's about.
I know it's not. So my victories, albeit minor, do ring true. I have to say that one of my favorite tournaments, probably would have to be the Star City Games Open in Columbus. And this was like it would be RTR Innistrad Standard, and I was playing Junk Reanimator. It was like the first time that I got on camera and played against Andrew Shrout and got the break speed off of me. And like that was like the lowest of lows. Like I didn't play very well. I was pretty nervous. First time being on camera. What have you? You get nerves, and like I don't really think the matchup was that favorable for me anyway. He was playing like Bant mid range, so just in general had a lot of foils to what my deck was doing, and so definitely not the best. But then next round, I got paired against Jerry Thompson. I'm like, oh, back to back, oh great, but I was actually able to win that one, and it's definitely one of like the coolest things that you get to do, and like that was like probably my first like brush with like playing against someone who is like definitely better than me at Magic, like to like an extreme degree, and being able to like be victorious and like get a cool story out of it, because he was playing an Aristocrats deck if I remember correctly, and it was awesome to win. I have to say, probably like runner up is a very recent tournament. It is the Louisville Open, where the team of Mike's wife and I got to play against the world champion team and be victorious. And I got to beat Craig Wesco.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. That's pretty awesome.
So we've had, I think collectively a lot of like awesome tournaments to be able to say we attended. I mean, like you got to top 8 the Star City Games in Indianapolis Open, snowed out.
Yeah, I got to literally race the snowstorm home.
Yep,
that was
yep.
cool.
And get beaten unfortunately by the greatest of all time.
Yeah, like getting beaten down by the goat is okay.
The ORAT.
John Finkel?
No. Owen Turnwald.
The goat that I have a chance to play against. John Finkel comes out
the greatest living player.
Yeah, wow.
John Finkel's not alive. He's
a machine.
He's eternal.
Actual machine.
But it's definitely awesome, and I think it's like an experience that like my wife is even kind of envious of, because we've gone to a lot of different places and seen a lot of different things, and it's not like it's at all like glamorous or anything like that. We've also stayed in some pretty sketchy places, which have been definitely stories for sure. And but I think like through the game and like through going to tournaments, we've definitely been probably a lot more places than I thought I'd ever go. Even if I haven't like been international with the game like you guys have, but even going across the country and stuff like that has been pretty nice. And I would say that there are definitely tournaments like worth going to. If it's outside your comfort zone, like just do it and like have the experience. So yeah. And if anyone else, write us in with your favorite tournament stories and like things that you've been able to do, like please feel free. We like to read them and stuff like that. So
yeah, I will say, like, if you're somebody that's like just wants to get into tournament Magic, or you're thinking about traveling to that, like the team events that that we have, we have a team GP this year, and like Star City is starting to run more team events. Like those are honestly like, even if I don't do well, those are like fun memories. You know what I mean? Because you're just playing with your buddies or whatever. So. Yeah,
and like turning Magic into a team sport, as it were, it creates a lot of like awesome sort of what's the word I'm looking for here? I can't remember it, but it definitely like encourages you to like, cheer each other on and stuff like that, which is really, really nice. Sometimes you can get inside your own head too much in a solo tournament, so it's nice to have a team to like rally around you.
Sure.
So, but yeah, thank you again so much for the question. And if anyone else has any questions, you email us, get at us on Twitter. This is a great discussion to have, and we just want to give the people what they want. And I hope that you guys wanted this. At least one of you out there did. So thanks again, Austin. All right. That's pretty much it. That's the end of the show. We have one tournament coming up over the weekend. It's a GP San Antonio. It's going to be Team Unified Modern, so a very unique event. It's definitely going to be something to watch, I think. I do hope that the coverage is going to be pretty sweet. Team Unified Modern, it's hard to like get deck lists and stuff like that. That's fairly something that they have building constrictions, obviously, on what they can play. So take everything you see with a grain of salt. But I mean, like you're going to see some awesome teams, and some awesome teams like really rise to the top. So definitely check out coverage. I know we will over the weekend, and report back to you on what we see next week. As far as ways you can get in contact with us, we have Twitter. It's do a search for Your End Step, and then when you add us, it's at Your End Step because we're clever. We also have a Facebook. It's do a quick search for at Your End Step on Facebook, and then we have email address at yourendstep at gmail.com, and a website at yourendstep.com also works out if you want to leave us a comment on the show. To listen to us, you can get us through iTunes, and you can get us via the Google Play Music Store, as well as on MTGcast. And while you're on MTGcast, definitely check out a huge litany of other shows and find your new favorite, new second favorite Magic podcast. So, but that's going to be everything for us this week. We do appreciate your time, and you have a great one. Bye.